My peoples, my peoples. Welcome to another episode of Boxing for Breakfast, where you get your healthy dosage of sweet science early in the morning. Y'all know what we doing, man. We talking boxing. First of all, let me say good morning to everyone tuning in. Size in the building, Toy Mafia, MS. My peoples, we got some boxing on the way. Got some good fights coming up. We're going to kick this thing off with Andy Cruz versus Raymond Muratalla. Whoa. That's a very interesting fight. But before we get into all the details and all the stuff that we have to talk about, let me say happy Tuesday, my peoples. A beautiful morning to talk boxing, a beautiful morning to be alive, and a beautiful day to be a fan of the sweet science. Check it, man. This is going to be a very competitive fight. Two undefeated fighters. Somebody's old, gotta go. We're going to be seeing a lot of that in 2026. We getting these fights. We getting this action. And let me tell you, man, you got two elite level fighters about to face off on Saturday. MS, I've been waiting to see Muratalla back in action. Not a bad matchup. Listen, I'm expecting to see fireworks. This is one of those fights where you know you have two elite level guys in Andy Cruz and Raymond Muratalla. They both going there to win. Sometimes you get a fight where you feel like one of the two guys is overmatched. You feel like, he could make it interesting, but he's going to get beat. That's not the case here. These two guys can fight. It's going to be a very competitive fight. And I have to say, Muratalla is going into this showdown feeling like he can beat Andy Cruz. And then you have an Andy Cruz that feels like he's unbeatable, like he can't be beat. That right there is going to give us a heck of a fight. I'm going to tell you guys something interesting about Andy Cruz and about how fighters have to sometimes take a different route in their careers to go to where they want to go. And I'm going to make a comparison that you wouldn't even imagine, but you'll see where we're going to. Terence Crawford and Andy Cruz. I'm going to tell you a difference between the way that they navigated their careers. When Terence Crawford was going to sign with Top Rank, they try to tell him, look, we're going to give you these coaches and that coach and this coach. And Crawford was like, nah, I got my coaching staff. I got my team. I got Bo Mac. I got such and such. I got such and such. That's who I work with. Either they coming with me or we ain't going nowhere. Simple as that. And of course, with the type of talent that Terence Crawford has, they had to accept it and say, okay, we got it. Let's do it like that then. So Bo Mac and the team who brought Crawford all the way up to being able to sign a contract with Top Rank, he decided, nah, they the ones I'm going to keep working with. And look where it led to. Crawford becoming a 5-division world champion, a unified champion, an undisputed champion in 3 different divisions. And then got one of the biggest wins in boxing history when he beat Canelo Alvarez. So Crawford decided to keep the team together throughout the duration of his career. Andy Cruz went in a different route. He actually ended his whole team that took him to the Olympics multiple times and all of that. He ended up leaving all of them. When he signed with Matchroom, he ended up going with Bozy. So he's in Bozy's team now. Or Bozy's his main trainer, and you know, I don't know the rest of the team, but the point is that Crawford decided to keep the team together for the duration of his career. Andy Cruz decided to move on, start off with a new team with Bozy and them, but you see him thriving. You see him doing good in his career. So every fighter is not going to take the same route to get to their destination. And I don't knock Andy Cruz for making those changes. I saw him in an interview where he said, yo, when I got the opportunity to do this, I decided to make changes. I felt like I needed to make those changes to get to the higher level. You can't knock him for it. And you training and even sparring with Jerron Boots Ennis. You know, iron sharpens iron. And we're seeing that. Side. And they still don't want to give Buff Fighter of the Year. Bitch ass niggas. That's my description. I knew they wasn't going to give it to him. You know why I knew they wasn't going to give it to him? Because remember, nobody wanted Terrence Crawford to retire. So when he retired and said, nah, I'm out of here. You're not going to make me do what I don't want to do. I'm going to do me. Or I'm out. On my own terms. When he did that, that's it. There's no way they was going to give him Fighter of the Year. Side, Bozy has a better professional training regimen for Andy. Not necessarily. Because we don't really know what his Cuban team would have been able to do with him. So I think it's a little bit unfair to say because, come on now, you know, they brought him all the way to winning multiple gold medals in the Olympics. And historically, Cuban coaches have been at the highest level. So I think that's a little bit unfair. However, we know that Bozy is one of the best in the game. And then he got Jerron Boots Ennis right there. So you have an elite level fighter at the highest level that you can work with. So in a way, I feel you on that. Andy Cruz has a team around him that will definitely be able to get him all the way to the top. Joanne Sosa, nothing wrong to have confidence and taking a chance. I agree with you. That's why I don't knock Andy Cruz at all for wanting to make a change. Like I said, I saw him in an interview where he said, I felt like I needed to have a whole new team and start with these people, and look where he's at today. Side. But in his early fighter before Bozy, he didn't look the best. I feel he has improved. I mean, I think there's a transitional process going from the amateurs to the professionals. And slowly but surely, we saw him getting better and better and better. And here's where he's at now. But again, man, when you're working with Bozy, when you're working with that team, we're going to see the improvements. Now, Raymond Muratalla is going to be Andy Cruz's toughest opponent. Can he win that fight? Because this is where you separate the real good fighters from the great ones. The real good fighters win, and then they get to a real tough opponent and they take a L. And then they go back to their winning ways and might even win a title. Real good fighters win titles. But it's the great fighters that keep defending them, that keep winning more titles, that conquer multiple divisions. It's the great ones. So right now, Andy Cruz is in an early stage in his career where he wants to be a great fighter. He wants to be one of the guys. But now you have to start proving it. Now you have to start showing us that you are who you say you are. Side. But in his early fighter days, Bozy, he didn't look his best. I agree 100%. However, when you say in his early fighter days, you have to look at his first few fights. He looked real good, but he didn't look real good versus real competition. versus guys who, even had a chance. You have to take into consideration who he's beating. But gradually, the competition started to get tougher, and it became harder for him to dominate those guys. Enter Bozienes. Now Andy Cruz is looking like there's no way you could stop him from becoming a world champion. Muratalla is his first real test. I mean, I think he faced some tough opponents that can upset you if you're not on your game. He beat them. But that's what I'm trying to tell you, my brother. A lot of times, good fighters lose to opponents that we never heard of. And that's the difference between good and great. The great ones, they not having it. They not trying to take that L to nobody. The real good ones that are not yet great, that didn't reach that level, they get surprised every once in a while. They catch a tough opponent. Let me give you an example. Look at Abdullah Mason. Look at Abdullah Mason. When he faced Sam Noakes. If Abdullah wasn't headed for greatness, he would have lost to Sam Noakes. Because if you watched, you could see Sam Noakes can fight. He a skilled fighter. In fact, I'm going to tell you guys right now, Sam Noakes is going to become a world champion. He can't beat Abdullah. He's going to become a world champion. The guy can fight, got power, relentless, aggressive. He got all the tools in the bag to become a world champion. And when he does, that's going to make Abdullah Mason's win that much bigger. In fact, don't be surprised if down the line, we got Sam Noakes and Abdullah Mason, both world champions, obviously different sanctioning bodies, unifying titles against each other. We could see that down the line because remember, it's not like Noakes got washed. Don't get it twisted. He didn't get washed. You're right, sir. Noakes gave Abdullah Mason everything he could handle. And this is when you separate the good fighters from the great ones. Abdullah Mason had to step his game up in that fight. He had to dig deep and fight better than he ever has. Do what he's never done to walk out of there with that W. That's how you see Abdullah Mason got it in him. Took a lot of punishment, took a lot of hard shots in that fight. Still walked out of there with a W, found a way. You know you're witnessing greatness when a fighter is facing an opponent that he cannot dominate and he has to beat him in his own game. That's what Abdullah Mason had to do with Sam Noakes. He was out there with a guy that wasn't going to back down, wasn't going to hide, wasn't going to do nothing but keep going forward, keep applying pressure and throwing punches and landing hard shots. When you're facing a guy like that, you either going to beat him at his own game or you're going to fold and lose. And we saw in Abdullah Mason that was not there to fold. I would say in that fight, we saw Abdullah Mason show us that he's greatness in the making. Damn, yo, you see what I'm saying, Si? 5 likes, bro. We already said the ghost watching wasn't happening in 2026, but what can I tell you, man? Double tap that screen. Everybody who not sneak hating on Jay Smith. Alpha, hello. Next week, Bakram Mortasaliev is facing Josh Kelly. How you see it going? Please. Listen, bro. Bakram Mortasaliev is one of my favorite fighters that people don't know about or that we just found out about recently, because before he beat Tim Tszyu, we didn't know him. Most of us didn't know him. And people who say, yeah, I've been following him. You cat. You're lying. Before fighting Tim Tszyu, Bakram Mortasaliev was fighting in small venues in Europe. Them shits wasn't even televised, only on local networks. We didn't know about him. caught all of us by surprise when he beat the shit out of Tim Zoo. Give me a hug. You want Spider-Man? Give me a hug.
Spider-Man. I and Papa.
Okay. Side, I picked Backward to beat Sue. One of my proudest predictions. I call him the better BF of 154. Ramirez, funny because that's how I thought the Devin Haney versus Norman fight would play out. The way Abdullah and Noakes did. I'm going to keep it 100 with you. I thought it was going to be a more competitive fight than what it was. And I think that it should have been. I did predict Devin Haney was going to win that fight. That Devin was scared, that he was going to run, that they was going to chase him around and cut the ring on him and eventually catch him and knock him out. And when Devin stood right in front of Brian Norman Jr., they just didn't know what to do with him. That's not the fight that they prepared for. Or at least that's not what it looked like. Because who was expecting Norman Jr. to get washed? He wasn't expecting Norman Jr. to get washed. I thought he was going to be competitive. And then eventually Devin Haney with the skills and the experience was going to start taking over and ultimately win the fight. But not like that. Look, I understand in a way why Norman Jr. fired his pops. And it's my opinion that he fired him because he felt like Pop Dukes didn't prepare me for this fight. He took me there to lose. He didn't have me ready. Because think about it. And I don't know how their training camp played out. I have no idea. I'm just guessing, right? But if they said that Devin was going to run, that Norman Jr. was going to catch him, that he was going to knock him out, what I'm guessing is that they had a training camp where they brought in guys to run around and Norman Jr. chase him around. They was working on, we're going to cut the ring, and we're going to chase you, and we're going to catch you. And the fight didn't play out nothing like what they prepared for in training camp. So he got washed. They didn't go in there prepared for that type of fight. They thought they was going to fight Devin Haney in a football field. And Devin, from round number 1, Devin was like, nah, yo, forget the football field. Step in the bathroom with me. Come step in the bathroom. Pull some more high school shit on Brian Norman Jr. We don't need the field. We don't need to go to the yard. Let's go in the bathroom real quick and handle it. And put the beats on him. Come on now. Alpha. You said Backroom, the better man. Look, man, Josh Kelly surprised me with his last performance. I'm going to keep it 100. Josh Kelly looked real good. Well, those of us who didn't know his level of toughness, now we know it. So I think Josh Kelly will make it a competitive fight. Bakram Murtasaliev is a monster. Look, I'm going to be honest with y'all. Tomorrow, I want to see a couple of things. Tomorrow, I promise I got a prediction for you. Josh Kelly versus Bakram Murtasaliev in tomorrow's episode of Boxing for Breakfast. I'm going to make that prediction. Side, whoa, with the super chat vibes for Jay Smith. Hit the like button. Stop the ghost watching. Look at that, man. My brother Side went in the super chat just to tell y'all to stop with the ghost watching, man. I appreciate you, my brother, no doubt. Anybody who hit them super chat vibes, I appreciate you, man, because you guys show that you love the sport of boxing and you appreciate what I'm out here doing. I appreciate you, Sai. Santiago Ramirez, hit that like button, of course, man. Y'all gotta hit that like button, man. I'm giving you this sweet science early in the morning. What's up, Ryan? What you want?
You get on Ryan Spider-Man.
You want to watch Spider-Man? My peoples, I'm going to take a 30-second commercial break. My son want to watch Spider-Man, so I got to put that for him. Y'all know what it is, man. We love boxing and we love family. I'll be right back with you, my peoples. My peoples, we back in the building. We on it. Son, Ryan loves him some Spider-Man. Yeah, man, he loves Spider-Man. So, make your predictions. Don't duck the predictions, my peoples. Do you have Andy Cruz walking out of there with the W? Or is Raymond Muratalla going to pull off the upset? Who you got? By the way, Raymond Muratalla, 28 years old. Andy Cruz, 30 years old. They're both in their prime. They're both right there. And both of these guys want to become the guy in the division. They both feel like they have what it takes. Who's going to walk out of there with the W on Saturday? Who you got? John Kenyon, Cruz, points is better value. You got Cruz on points, huh? Side, I think this Andy coming of age party. I'm going to roll with Andy on points. Whoa. I got to tell you, man. I got to tell you. Muratalla is going into this fight with a chip on his shoulder. Because, you see it right there, the expectations are that he's going to lose. That he's Andy Cruz's opponent. But let's take this into consideration. I want you guys to consider this. Raymond Muratalla is 23-0 with 17 knockouts. So even though he's 2 years younger than Andy Cruz, he has a lot more professional experience. Don't forget about that. Don't forget about that. Ooh, John Kenyon, Cruz by TKO. Small bet. Muratalla been dropped before. Side, Muratalla lost to Farmer, in my opinion. I don't think he lost. I do think Farmer gave Muratalla everything he could handle. But I felt like he won that fight. Daniel Negron, I got the Cuban Missile. Andy Cruz. Side, a Philly fighter. And Philly fighters, man, always giving people problems. Philly been giving problems in boxing, man, for the longest. You got Boots over there now. Who the hell's going to deal with Boots? Boots giving it to him. So Philly been doing it. And then, of course, my peoples, like, you see how boxing has been treating us? And then how we kicked off 2025? We're about to get Andy Cruz versus Raymond Muratalla. And the following week, we got Teofimo Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson. Which, by the way, I already made that prediction. You guys know what it is. I told you, Shakur's going to win this fight. So, you could either make some money, because now you know who's going to win. Or you could say, well, you know, even though Jay always gets it right, let me go against him and flush my money down the toilet. You could do that if you want. Nobody getting washed. I got mad respect for Teofimo Lopez, what he's been able to accomplish in the sport of boxing, and he'll continue to accomplish. But right now, he's running into a roadblock. He ain't winning this fight. Wally Ahmad, what up, Jay? I'm back in the building. Stay blessed, bro. Salute, family. Bam, appreciate you dropping in. You already know, we talking boxing. We doing what we do. John Kenyon. Cruz wins to close out. Cruz wins, then calls out Keyshawn. Keyshawn will get TKO. 31st win. Whoa. Keyshawn Davis getting TKO by Andy Cruz. Whoa. You know Andy Cruz says that he's Keyshawn's daddy, right? Now I gotta tell you. We're gonna get that fight. It's the inevitable. Andy Cruz versus Keyshawn Davis is the inevitable. Who's gonna win that fight? I can't make that prediction just like that. I'm gonna put it to you like this. That is such a tough prediction for me to make that I will not even attempt to make up until that fight is announced. When they're ready to fight that is actually gonna happen, that's when I'm gonna start reviewing tape and doing all of this other shit to eventually come up with a prediction. That's a tough fight to predict. John Kenyon, Keisha has a fight in 31st and wins by TKO. Oh, okay. And he's trying to be the first to stop Jermaine Ortiz, who, by the way, y'all remember, Jermaine Ortiz gave Teofimo Lopez problems. There was people saying that he beat him. I didn't see him win that fight. I'm going to be honest with y'all. You know why? Because Jermaine Ortiz was doing good, but those last few rounds, he wasn't out there looking like he wanted to take it from the champion. He was out there looking like, I'm going to try not to get hurt. I'm going to try to look good. And that's it. But he didn't try to take it from Teofimo. And that's why I felt like he lost that fight. John Kenyon, yes, it's a bad blood fight. Not going to distance. And look, man, Keyshawn Davis, knowing that this is a former opponent of Teofimo Lopez who gave him problems, knowing that this is a former opponent of Lomachenko who went the distance and gave him a good fight, he want to be the first guy to stop Jermaine Ortiz. That's his mindset going into this fight. Side, Ortiz don't have enough spite for me. I think he could make it interesting versus Keyshawn Davis, but I don't think he's going to win that fight. I don't think he could win that fight. John Kenyon, Keyshawn will get him out of there. He wants to be the first one to stop him. That's the mindset of Keyshawn Davis. Like, look at the problems this dude gave Teofimo and Lomachenko. I'm going to beat his ass. They all going to look at me like, yeah, he the only one to dominate this dude. Because up until this point, nobody dominated Jermaine Ortiz. He's been competitive in all of his fights, even the ones he lost. Let's be honest. Side, most of them are salty Canelo fans. John Kenyon, how old is Loma? Honestly, that's not something that I even take into consideration. How old was Crawford when he beat the shit out of Canelo? 38 years old. So I never take age into consideration. What I look at is, how are you performing? That's all I'm looking at. That's all I'm looking at. How did you perform when you stepped in the ring? So age doesn't really matter. I think, look, age is more an excuse that haters use to discredit wins. Oh no, but he was old. And oh no, but he was washed. And it's almost like people use that line conveniently. Why? Because I want you to think about this. Look at Floyd Mayweather's best opponents. And look how old they was. All of them guys were in their mid to late 30s. If you look at Manny Pacquiao, Oscar De La Hoya, Miguel Cotto, Zab Judah, Shane Mosley, most of the big names that Floyd fought and beat was in their mid to late 30s. And nobody, there's the group of people that say, oh, he beat him when they was washed up. But let's look at the fights and see how those fights played out. He beat Oscar De La Hoya by split decision. Split decision. It was a good fight. So ultimately, it's more about performance than age. And I'm going to make another comparison. Look at when Terrence Crawford beat Shawn Porter. What did a lot of people say? Oh, nah, Shawn Porter wash. Shawn Porter wash. Shawn Porter's a year younger than Crawford. But not only that, if you watch the fight, Shawn Porter's punch output, was his usual self. Shawn Porter was winning rounds against one of the best fighters of this generation. There's nothing in that fight that you can point at and say, nah, look, Shawn Porter's washed. He didn't look slow. He didn't look weak. He didn't look like he wasn't coordinated. He looked great out there. Shawn Porter looked great against Terrence Crawford. He just had a greater fighter in front of him that night. But he looked great. Nothing about that fight says that he was washed. But for those who don't like Terrence Crawford and want to discredit every single one of his wins, they're going to say, nah, he washed. He had 1 foot out of boxing. And his mental state wasn't the same. I love it when we become psychiatrists and psychics, and we get into fighters' mental state to discredit somebody's win. But ultimately, Crawford beat a great fighter when he beat Shawn Porter. John Kenya, Loma versus Devin. Who won, in your opinion? Was it a robbery? How was the performance on both fighters? So, the first time that I watched that fight, I said Loma won. Because I watched it live. And I was one of those people. Nah, Devin got robbed. Loma got robbed. But I'm going to tell you what happened. Zay, Porter was not winning that fight. He was never winning. He was never winning that fight. I know that there was a round when they told Crawford, you're down in the cards, you're down. And the following round, he got the stoppage. That was not the case. Google the cards. They're available out there. Matter of fact, I could Google it for you. I'll Google it for you right now and show you. Watch this. Porter versus Crawford scorecards. So I'm already aware of this. If you man, it's too small. You can't see it. You're gonna have to Google it yourself. But Crawford was when they told him that he was behind on the cards, he was ahead. They was making an assumption because it was close and they wanted to make sure Crawford closed out the show, but he was never behind on the cards. He was ahead. But Loma versus Devin, the first time I saw that fight, I said Loma got robbed too. But then I watched it again the following day and I realized something. We were saying that Lomachenko won off of emotions. You know why? Because we never seen Devin get hit that much. One of the best defensive fighters in the game, we're not used to seeing Devin get hit. We're not used to seeing him get hit with combinations. Bam, 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 bam. And Loma was doing that. So Lomachenko did so good that watching it, we felt he won because nobody did that good versus Devin. But then when I watched it again, taking all of the emotions out of it, I started noticing something that I didn't see in the first fight. And it's how often Devin Haney was timing Lomachenko and catching him with that nasty right hook to the body. Flush. That's one thing. A lot of times boxing fans, we don't see the body shots. We only see the head shots. Boom, 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 boom. Oh! But Devin Haney was doing this one on Lomachenko consistently. As Lomachenko would go in, Devin will go, bang! Flush to the body. Bang! A couple of times. Lomachenko a little bit. And you got to give credit to Lomachenko because he took some nasty body shots. The type of body shots that'll drop an opponent, that'll stop an opponent, that'll slow them down. And you saw none of those effects on Lomachenko. Kept fighting, kept punching, never slowed down. So I got to say, that was a great fight from both sides. Both performed at the highest level. But I did feel, after watching it the second time, the first time I felt like Lomachenko won. But after watching it the second time, by the way, I've seen that fight right now 4 or 5 times at least. And only the first time I felt like Lomachenko won. Every other time that I watched it after, and I'm watching closely, Devin won. Devin won a close, tough, competitive fight. Zay Porter's actually a Hall of Fame, of course. That's a Hall of Fame type fighter. Tough fighter, great fighter. Zay, I saw different, but we all have our opinion. That's how it is. We all gonna have our own opinions. Sai, it was a great fight. I only watched it once and I had 7-5 Loma, but never thought it was a robbery. Look, there was a lot of swing rounds in that fight. A lot of rounds that you could say could have gone either way. Daniel Negron, it's so true. In a very close fight, sometimes I watch the fight a second time to see who really won. If it's close, if it's split decision, if it's controversial, I always watch it more than once. And I usually watch it the next day. The next day in the morning, I'm already watching it again. Y'all know how I do. I'll be getting up at 5 in the morning. If the fight is really close, at 5 in the morning, I'm already watching it again. That when we kick off the show, I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm telling you. I'm not going off of the emotions of yesterday. He got robbed. No. Wait a minute. I never like to make a decision based on emotions. I want to go with what happened. And I'm telling you, I watched the fight 4 or 5 times. Devin won that shit. It was close, competitive. Devin edged it. And what I mean by edged it, if they would have gave it a draw, I would have been okay with that. I would have been okay. I would have been like, yeah, that's a draw. But I got no problem with Devin walking out of there with the W. Side, I saw Devin with consistent output and body shots. Loma fought in spurts with eye-catching shots. That's the thing. Loma had, if you watch the fight, I would say Loma had more highlights because of the clean little matrix things that he did here and there. When he got up close, he was like, and doing some things. But he didn't do it consistently throughout the fight. In fact, there was rounds that he was losing, and he did that at the end. Caught that with a few good ones, and the round was over. And when you watch the fight the first time, you're like, oh shit, he got him, he got this round. But when you watch it again, you realize, oh shit, wait a minute. Before he had that little highlight moment, Devin was putting belt to ass. And then he had a highlight moment. So I agree with you, Sai. That's why it was such a good competitive fight. It was a good one. There was also a lot of times where Loma was letting the hands fly and they wasn't really landing. Devin's like, pop, 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 pop. They wasn't landing like that. And then there was those times where he was catching Devin with some good shots to the head. I remember he caught Devin with some shots that had the little fro flying around. Poof, 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 poof. Yeah, Loma did his thing. But Devin won that fight. And this Saturday, my peoples, Raymond Muratalla and Andy Cruz, they could potentially give us that type of fight. We might end up getting a slugfest filled with fireworks in this one. And you guys know, only sometimes I tell you this, because you know that there's fighters that they're going to need a few rounds to get going. They're going to start off slow. Tank Davis is one of them. Tank Davis is a notorious slow starter, which is why the fight with Lamar Roach played out the way that it did. And by the way, my peoples, Tank Davis is still on the run. What the hell is Tank Davis doing, bro? Y'all tell me what Tank Davis is doing. What? I actually hit Tank Davis up myself in his DM. Hit him up. Like, bro, what the fuck is you doing? What is you doing? I don't understand it. You think you're gonna escape from the law? You're gonna So let me tell you something, my peoples. This whole situation with Tank Davis having a warrant out on his arrest and they looking for him and all that, bro, Tank Davis needs to stop playing games and turn himself in. He got to do it. Because in case you don't know, when you got a warrant out on your arrest, it's very different than when they catch you on the run. Whole different ball game, my peoples. Side, be careful, Jay. Tanks love to cuss out his fans. I don't care. You can curse me out, not a problem. I can handle it. I can handle it. That's okay. I've been cursed out plenty. But I'm surprised that Tank Davis has had a warrant for this much time and never turned himself in. You gotta have a legal team, a good lawyer to let him know, bro, you don't turn yourself in, it's just gonna be worse. Because they are gonna catch you. Or what you gonna do on the run? Well, what exactly can you do on the run? Are you gonna quit boxing? Are you gonna, that's it? Tank on the Lamb Davis? That's what you're gonna be? So I hope, man, that Tank stop playing games, turn himself in, and deal with. And here's what I don't understand. Tank got money. You got lawyers. You could give me a second, my peoples. So here's my thing. If you got money, mad money, you got a lawyer, you got everything, you can literally turn yourself in and bail out the same day. I get it if you don't got bail money. I get it if you broke and you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna go on the run, I can't go to jail. I get all that. But you got money, bro. You're not even gonna sit in jail for 24 hours. You're gonna go in, your lawyers are gonna bail you out, and everything is gonna be good. You're gonna fight your case from home. But as long as you're on the run, you can't fight, you can't train, you can't be anywhere in public, and you're on the run. Who the hell wants to be on the run? I don't even know why Tank is doing this, bro. Should have been turn yourself in. If you got money, like Tank Davis got money, the same day they announced that they got a warrant on your ass, you need to be turning yourself in, bailing out within a few hours, and then allowing your lawyers to handle the situation. That's what you pay them for. That's what you got high-powered attorneys for, so they can handle it. So I'm surprised to see that Tank is on the run. Like, how often do you see this? And let's see. We don't know how this thing is going to play out. We don't know when they're going to catch Tank, where they're going to catch him. Is he going to turn himself in? Nobody even know where Tank is at right now. That warrant is in Florida. But where is Tank Davis? Is Tank Davis even in the country? Like, I don't know. I don't know, my peoples. I don't know what's crossing Tank Davis' mind. What is his plans? What is he trying to do? But my boy, turn yourself in. And let your lawyers do their job. That's all you, like, I'm going to tell you something, my people. Sometimes when you're the one living in the situation, you don't even realize that you make it bigger than what it is. Because you're the one having to deal with it. You don't realize that it's really not that big. And why I say it's not that, look, let me not try to minimize, right? Because I say it's really not that big. So I don't want to minimize. I understand that these are serious allegations against them. I understand that, you know, when it comes to situations like that, allegations about battery and women and all that stuff, it's serious. I don't want to minimize it. But when I say it's not as big as Tank is making it, is that you had a civil suit and that young lady dropped the charges and the state picked it up. Okay, you got great lawyers. If you turn yourself in, you're not even going to spend 24 hours in jail, bro. You're going to get a bail. You're going to bail out within a few hours and let the lawyers handle that shit. That's what they charge the big bucks for, so they can handle it. Right now, Tank Davis would have been out on bail while his attorneys do what they supposed to do. He would have been free already. Instead, you're running. While you're running, you can't fight. You can't train. You can't be in public. You can't make no money. You don't want to be running. You know who running is cool for? For people who got a warrant, you broke, you ain't got a job, you ain't got no bail money, and you like, yo, when they catch me, I'm hooked. Because I'm going to have to sit in jail, and then they're going to find me guilty, and then I'm going to spend more time in jail. I get it if you go on the run. Nobody want to sit in jail. But you got money to bail out, to get high-powered attorneys, you don't need to run. You don't need to. Your lawyer's going to handle that for you. Clifton Dennis, tax lawyer, must have told him he's not getting up on immediately. What other reason will he not turn himself in? I mean, if you look at the allegations, man, he's going to get bail. He's 100% going to get bail, bro. Because his warrant is not for tax. His warrant is not for tax reasons. That warrant is because the state decided that they were going to pick up the charges on that girl that he supposedly hit, who she dropped the civil suit on him. They don't even got a witness against him. This is one of those rare cases where the state says, you know what, we're going to pick it up and we're going to pursue it. We don't have a victim, but we're going to pursue it anyways. Which is why I said I feel like Tank is being targeted. Zay, he won't get bail now, being he didn't show up to court. Mandatory lockup. I mean, listen, because he didn't show up to court, but if he shows up and you know, follows the process that he's supposed to, turn himself in, he'll get bail, bro. He'll get bail. Now, if they catch him running, it's a wrap. You're not getting no bail. And the more time it takes for them to catch him, the harder it is for him to get bail if they catch him. If they catch you on the run, now you got problems. The same day they announced we got a warrant for Tank Davis, he should have turned himself in. The Hydro Grind, salute my brother. You already know what it is, man. We talking boxing. And nobody knows where Tank Davis is at right now. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's people in his close circle who know where he's at. Some people that's rocking with him right now. But overall, none of us can say if Tank Davis is even in Florida or in New York or in Detroit or in Baltimore. We don't know where Tank is at. Because that's the one thing. When you got money and resources, Tank could be anywhere. This motherfucker could be in Cancun right now eating tacos with some Mexican girls. And we wouldn't know it. Daniel Negron. Tank had a rough upbringing. Getting older means getting wiser. But not him. He can't even have an adult conversation with these folks because his attitude sucks. So, I'm going to say this, man. Part of what you're saying is related to his success and money. Because I've seen this before. Not just in famous athletes. I've seen it in real life. People touch some bread and they act different. They turn into somebody different. Now they feel like, oh, I'm the shit and everybody got to kiss my ass and everybody got to do what I say and everybody got to laugh at my jokes even when they corny as fuck. People be like that. So when you're in an environment where everybody around you lives off of you, everybody's going to say yes to everything that you say. Everybody's going to laugh at your every joke. Everybody's going to back you on every decision you make. But that's when you know you don't have real friends. If Tank Davis has real friends, then they the ones telling him, bro, you need to turn yourself in. You wilding the fuck out. What is you doing? You think you're going to run forever? What are you going to do? Because that's the thing. When you go on the run, what you're really doing is wasting time. Your time could have been started. But it hasn't because you're on the run. The Hydro Grind. Question. If Tank career stopped right now due to all problems, how does he rank in the all-time list? Man, come on now. He don't even rank in the all-time list. He ain't ranking. He ain't an all-time great if his career ended right now. He's not an all-time great. If he was to never fight again, he will be, you could say, one of the best fighters from this era who didn't get to accomplish as much as the other top level guys. Because at the end of the day, you can't knock Tank Davis and try to suggest that he isn't what we all know he is. He's a great fighter. Let's not, confuse his skills, his abilities, his explosiveness. Let's not confuse that and try to say that he ain't all that because he didn't beat the top dogs. I'd say if you told me summarize Tank Davis' career right now, I would say, he's one of the best of the game who hasn't faced any of the best in the game. And that's how he'll, if he didn't fight again, that's how he will be remembered. Like, damn, the guy was talented. And I told you guys before, if Tank Davis was to come back to boxing and decide to fight everybody, like I'm going to fight T.O., Shakur, Dev, Subier Matias, Richardson Hitchens, I'm fighting everybody. If he was to do that, he's probably retiring with a record of like 42-2, 45-3, 41-1. Like, he's going to beat some of these guys. And some of them are going to beat him too. But if he fight everybody, he's not going to retire with that O. He's going to take a couple of L's along the way. And I don't know if he want to take that risk or take them L's that would come with fighting everybody. The Hydro Grind, future Hall of Famer going down. Is Tank a Hall of Famer right now? No. Tank is not a Hall of Famer. Marie, who you got, Jay Smith, Shakur, or Teofimo Lopez? I said it, man. Shakur Stevenson is going to win that fight by unanimous decision. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a good fight. And I'm looking forward to it. We're going to see fireworks. Because that fight's not going to play out nothing like what the hate has been saying. Oh, it's going to be boring. Oh, Shakur is not going to engage with Teofimo. He's going to run. They said the same shit about William Zepeda. And I'm not saying that Teofimo is Zepeda, but I'm saying Shakur is Shakur. Marie, I don't believe everything they say about Tank. It's very strange. It seems like there are people who want to destroy his life. I'm going to have to agree with you on that. After these latest, or after this warrant was issued on his arrest, I'm starting to feel like there's government officials that are targeting Tank Davis. Like they already made the decision. We're going to take this guy down. We're going to take him out. Because how is it that this girl dropped the charges? Remember, my peoples, it was a civil suit. A civil suit means that it's about money. That if we find you liable, we're going to give her X amount of money. So in a civil suit, you don't go to jail. The girl drops the charges, and 3 months, 4 months later, whatever it is, the state decided, oh no, we're going to pick up the charges. And now we got a warrant. We taking you down. In most cases, that don't happen, my peoples. I've seen cases where a girl got an eye like this, nose like this, clearly got pummeled. And then she like, nah, it wasn't him. I fell at the stairs. Charges drop. Charges drop because we don't got a witness. We don't have somebody that's saying this happened. We don't got nobody who can confirm that actually happened. Charges drop. And they back together. And then we see the cases where the state don't got no witness, don't got no victim cooperating, don't got shit. And they're like, no, we're going to follow up. We're going to take them down anyways. How do they decide that? I don't even know, my peoples. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Clifton Dennis. I've been hearing he possibly targeted. Hear that. But does anyone have a reason why they out to get him? I mean, there could be a lot of reasons why they out to get him. But do you want me to give you the most obvious one? He black, rich, and famous. That's it. That's it right there. Black, rich, and famous. That's a great recipe. Right there. The Hydro Grind. We all know he could have been a Hall of Famer. But unfortunately, I think he will stay that way. A simple could have been. Look, that's something that I have to respect the Hydro Grind, because right now Tank Davis is in a situation where we just don't know how this thing is going to play out. Right now, we don't know where Tank Davis is at. We don't know his frame of mind. If he's planning on, I'm going to take a few days and then I'm going to turn myself in. We don't know if the mindset is, they're going to have to catch me because I'm not going in. We don't know where he's at mentally. So the way this situation plays out could lead to the end of Tank Davis' career. It can also lead to him doing time in prison. And now we got Tank Davis, because remember, he's 30 years old right now, about to be 31. You serve a few years in prison, you come out of jail in your mid-30s. But in your mid-30s, you're still within your physical prime. you're still right there that you can fight and get to the top. So Tank Davis' story is not over. We just don't know how it's going to play out. We don't know. I actually hit him up on his DM. I don't know if he saw that shit. But I hit him up like, yo, turn yourself in, bro. The fuck is you doing? You got lawyers, you got money, you gonna bail the fuck out. What is you doing running? You don't gotta run. You don't have to. I'm telling you, I know what it is to have a warrant on my arrest. They was gonna have to catch me running because I didn't have no bail money. Real shit. I'm keeping it 100. You was gonna have to catch me running. I'm not gonna turn myself in when I know I'm gonna have to sit in jail. Ultimately, they got me. They got me. If you ever had a warrant out on your arrest, you know how that plays out. You're gonna be running, but you can't work. You can't make money. And what happens if you got a little bit of money? You start spending it. Spending it. Before you know it, that's it, you broke. And being broke and on the run, your ass is cooked. So Tank Davis, he got mad money, which means that he could run for a long time. But as long as you're running, you throwing away your boxing career. You throwing your everything that you worked for your whole life, you throwing it away. Because you can't fight. You can't work. You can't train. You can't even be in public. So ultimately, the best decision is to turn yourself in and let your high-powered attorneys handle this shit. Asiel, muchas bendiciones, Tigres. Saludos desde Naples, Florida. Keep working hard. I'm very proud of you and your channel. Best wishes. Salute, my brother. Bam. Maybe Tank Davis is in Florida, but we don't know where he's at. Appreciate you, my brother. Clifton Dennis. We need to see the video. I know a lot of guys with DV cases, bad cases, strangulation charges, and all, and didn't do no time. My boy, listen. All right, I'm going to get it for you right now. I want you to think about this. That girl had a civil suit on Tank Davis. It was a civil suit. That means no jail is even involved in that. It's about money. She dropped those charges. So they don't have a cooperating witness in this case. They just picked the charges on their own. You know how many times I've seen people beat those type of charges? How many times I seen those charges end up having to get dropped? A bunch of times. You really don't got shit on Tank Davis. Well, honestly, hold on, let me just say, because I don't want to exaggerate now. They might have pictures. They might have gotten their hands on pictures. Maybe the girl got something in her face or something like that. They definitely don't got video. Or I don't know if they got video either, because supposedly he went to the way that the story played out, or what was posted, is that he went to her place of work, maybe flipped out on her over there, and then took her, I don't know where, to an apartment or somewhere where she wasn't allowed to leave. Something around those lines. So I don't know if they have pictures or video or what they got against them. But whatever they have, the worst thing you could do as somebody who got money for lawyers, who got money for bail, the worst thing that you could do is run. Because now you're going to make it much harder for you to get that bail. Devin, salute, my brother. Bam. So I hope you guys understand this, what I'm saying, and I hope you agree with me. The best decision Tank Davis could make is to turn himself in. Okay? When I had a warrant, I didn't turn myself in. You're going to have to catch me, nigga. You're going to have to catch me running. But that's because I didn't have that type of money. I didn't have money to get high-powered lawyers and pay a bail that they was going to give me. So I had to run. I wanted to stay free as long as I could. Tank Davis don't got to do that. You're a millionaire. Clifton Dennis, you don't believe the video claims? No, I'm not saying that I don't believe the video claims. I'm saying I haven't seen anything. People could claim anything. I haven't seen it. I've never seen those videos. Or a video involving Tank and the lady that had them allegations against him. I haven't seen it myself. Mr. Bonilla, for a man to publicly grab his girl by the neck in an arena at a celebrity basketball game in front of everyone, that speaks volume. Imagine what he does in the dark. So look, Mr. Bonilla, I'm going to be honest with you. That's a point that I've made in the past. I made that point about what happened in that basketball game. But how long can you hold that against him? Or how long can you hold that, related to any situation that happens going forward? So, and I understand what you're saying, but it's not fair that anytime something comes up, we bring that back. We always bring it back. Because at the end of the day, all of us have made some type of mistake. All of us, somehow, some way, we ran into a speed bump and made the wrong decisions. But how long can you hold that against me? Think about it. How long, if you do a little research, you gonna find out that Jay Smith been in legal trouble too. Jay Smith visited a couple of jails. So, against me. How long can you say, damn, Jay, you was dealing drugs? Okay, my nigga, but that was over 20 years ago. Over 20 years ago. You're going to hold it against me now? So I get what you're saying about the situation in the basketball court, but that video is very old. I don't want to keep holding that against him. I don't know if he changed. Now, if these allegations are true and he didn't change, the law is going to deal with it the way that they have to. But still, you guys know when you have money, when you have lawyer money, when you have bail money, when you have high-powered attorneys, should be different out there. They don't be the same. Clifton Dennis, they say it's a video in a parking garage or something. From the rumors I hear, I read about that. Supposedly he went to her place of work, got her out of there, and took her somewhere else and wouldn't let her leave. Something like that. Mr. Bonilla, doesn't matter. He did it in front of 1,000 people. To have the balls to do that in front of all those people, Tank think he God. Trell Bruce, morning, brother. Salute, family. Bam. Mr. Bonilla, your situation is different. Trell, where there's smoke, there's fire. That's all I'm going to say. It's hard to argue against that. Hard to argue against it. You're right. And we smelling some smoke, something is burning. BVO Sports TV, salute, family. If there's smoke, something is burning. But you could make that fire worse. You could take a little bonfire that we could put it under control and turn that shit into a forest fire. And now that's it. There ain't shit you could do about it but watch everything burn. So right now, the fire that Tank is dealing with was under control. He could still contain it. If they catch you running, though, or they even catch you out of state and show that you traveled out of state in your run, that fire, my brother, you making it worse. That's why I tell people. That's why I tell people. If you got a warrant and you got the money to bail out, you got the money to get the best lawyers money can buy, turn yourself in, bro. Turn yourself in and face the law. Your lawyer, look, I'm going to put it to you like this. Y'all remember the day that they announced that Tank Davis had a warrant out for his arrest? If that day he would have turned himself in, that same day he would have bailed out. That same day. Tank would have been out on bail right now. And his high-powered attorneys would have been handling it. That's what we pay you the big bucks for. Handle it. But now that he's still on the run, guess what? Your lawyers can't do shit for you. You know what your lawyers can do? Look goofy as hell, telling the judge and telling the prosecutor, we don't know where he's at. Where's Tank Davis? We don't know. We haven't talked to him. When your lawyers don't know where you at, that's a problem. That's a problem. Because guess what? If they catch you running, when your lawyers ask for bail, they're going to tell your lawyer, what is your goofy ass talking about bail? You didn't even know where he was at. You don't got no control over your client. Fuck is you talking about bail for? So when they catch you running, when you got a warrant out of your arrest, and they catch you running, you can forget about bail, my peoples. Ain't gonna be no bail for you, buddy. So that's why I say, yes, there could be a fire. Where there's smoke, there's fire. But you could throw gasoline in that fire and turn it into a goddamn forest fire. Out of hand. Nobody could control it anymore. Uncontainable. So Tank can turn himself in and have a controllable fire, or he can keep running. And that shit is going to turn into a wildfire. There ain't shit you can do. Everybody getting burnt. Shakur hands, salute my brother. Ramirez, let's not forget the 15-pound rehydration. Listen, bro, we not even, when it comes to Tank Davis, right now we can't even talk boxing, bro. Because when you're on the run, you can't box, you can't train, you can't work, you can't do shit but hide. I don't want to see Tank Davis hiding, y'all. Come on, man. I'm trying to tell you, I'll hit him up privately. I actually sent him a DM like, yo, what the fuck is you doing, bro? What the fuck you trying to do out here? Turn yourself in. Shakur hands, you don't even know your client at that point. Lawyers shaking my head, pay for nothing because you became a track star. That's the one thing, my peoples. Listen, when you're dealing with legal situations, your lawyer is the only one that can save you. Your lawyer is the only one that can get you that bail, that can get you your freedom, that can fight for you in court. When they got to go in front of a judge and say, we don't know where he's at, that's a problem. That's a bad problem to have for a lawyer and for Tank. Libre, brother, who you got? Shakur versus Teofimo. I made my prediction yesterday, my G. Shakur Stevenson is going to win that fight. Boobas. Yo, what's up, doggy? I saw you for the first time on round 1, calling the Matias versus Dalton fight. It was legendary. Appreciate it, my brother. And by the way, all the big fights, Jay Smith is calling them. And I'm glad that you saw that one, because you may remember the whole panel was against me. I was alone. But I'm going to stick to my guns. And let me just say, that was a tough prediction to make, because I got a lot of respect for Subriel Matias. And I know what he brings to the table. He's a legitimate champion. Let me rephrase that. I got respect and love for Subriel Matias. So when it's a fighter that I respect like that, it's hard for me to predict against him. But I always tell people, I never make a prediction based on who I like or who I don't like. All of my predictions are based on who I think is going to win the fight. That's it. It don't matter if you're a fighter that I really like or if you're a fighter that I dislike. Never make predictions on emotions, on feelings. Look, the last time, and I've said this before, the last time that I made a prediction on feelings, on emotions, and it was a goofy ass prediction. I knew I knew it in my heart that I was full of shit. But I let my emotions get the best of me. I predicted Ryan Garcia was going to beat Tank Davis. I know it sounds dumb as hell right now, but I knew it was a dumb prediction to make. But, you know, Ryan is the underdog, mental health stuff that he been dealing with. Nobody sees it coming. I wanted him to win that fight, and I predicted that he would. Never predict a fight outcome because that's just what you want to happen. No. Make a prediction because you feel like that's the best in the ring and that's the guy that's going to win. And that's what I've been doing for the last couple of years. That's it. I don't play that shit no more. No more emotional picks from Jay Smith. Sean Johnson, what's up, champ? Andy Cruz for the win. You goddamn right, my G. Andy Cruz gonna handle business. Now, Raymond Muratalla is gonna give him a good fight. Muratalla not out there to get washed. Gonna be a good one. Marie, Jay Smith was alone, but at the end, they were shocked, Jay. I wasn't shocked. Y'all know I saw Dalton Smith winning that fight. Y'all know it. I saw it coming for many different reasons, which I stated during the show. Trout Bruce, this is exactly why I'm picking Shakur hands down if they fight. Because ain't no halfway committed motherfucker beating Shakur. Of course not. Of course not. Tank not even in a mental state to get in the ring with no Shakur Stevenson. Trout Bruce, my heart overhead move moment was EJ versus Bud. I feel you, brother. And you see, that fight, I predicted that Terrence Crawford was going to stop Errol Spence in the 8th or the 9th. And trust me, I had a lot of people going hard at me. People telling me, oh, you don't even believe that. Terrence Crawford is going to get knocked out. You remember the narrative leading up to the fight. But I honestly felt in my heart that Crawford was going to stop Errol. And I said it over and over, no matter how many people rained on me, I stood on 10 toes. Because that's what I saw happening. The same thing with Conor Benn. When Conor Benn was going to rematch Chris Eubank Jr., a lot of people said, nah, Chris Eubank Jr. is going to knock him out this time around. Ooh, it's going to be a knockout. I'm like, nah, man. Conor Benn's going to win this fight. He's there to win this fight, and he's going to. Why did I know Conor Benn was going to win it? Remember the first fight, how brutal it was? How many hard shots they both landed on each other? So Conor Benn lost, but it was a brutal, brutal fight. And for the rematch, what I took into consideration that people just didn't want to understand, yo, Conor Benn has now been in this weight for a longer time. Now he looks stronger. He looks acclimated to the weight. He's going to whoop that ass. And that's exactly how it played out. Side, that was the best fight I ever seen live. I was so hyped. Bro, that fight, it was just special to see Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford had a special performance versus Errol Spence, and then he did it again against Canelo Alvarez. Showed us that he's the best of this era. This is Terrence Crawford's era. Boobas, what upsets do you see possible this weekend? I say Castro over Carrington. Nah, I don't see it, man. I don't see it. I don't see it, bro. Honestly. To be honest, this weekend, I don't see no upsets. I don't see no upsets this weekend. Mr. Bonilla, the second time around, I knew Conor Benn was going to win. First fight, Conor Benn beat himself. He fought off anger. Rematch, he was more technical. He was. But also in the rematch, Chris Eubank Jr. was more reserved. Which I said it. After that brutal first fight that landed him in the hospital for like a week or 10 days or some shit like that. I was like, he's going to be more cautious. We're not going to see the same aggressive Chris Eubank Jr. that we saw in the first fight. He's going to be more cautious, but Conor Benn is going to be just as aggressive. And that's the way that it played out. Clifton Dennis, your picks have been excellent since I found out who you are. Can you tell us a big fight you got wrong? Yeah, that's the last one I got wrong. Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia. But I told you that was an emotional pick. And deep down inside my heart, I felt it like, damn, man, fuck it, I'm gonna go with him anyways. Fuck it. But it was an emotional pick, man. I'll never do that shit again. Never. You never gonna see me picking somebody because I like them or because I don't like them. I'll pick a fighter to win even if I don't like his ass. Because it's not about who I like, who I don't like. It's about who I think is gonna win. Boobas, I think Ortiz can upset Keyshawn. I think Jermaine Ortiz is going to make it interesting. He has the skills to make it interesting. But you know what's the problem with Jermaine Ortiz that I've seen? And why I label him one of these fighters that are very good, but don't get to that next level to be able to acquire greatness. You know why? Look at the fight with Teofimo Lopez. Jermaine Ortiz made it interesting, right? And they went back and forth. And there was even some people that said that he won the fight. But if you're honest with yourself and you go back and watch that fight, just the championship rounds, watch Jermaine Ortiz versus Teofimo Lopez, just round number 11 and 12. And you're going to see that what Jermaine Ortiz was doing, he was trying to make it to the end looking good. Make it to the end without getting beat up, without getting pummeled. But he wasn't out there trying to take it from Teofimo, trying to take it from the champion. Because you guys know, if you're the challenger, you got to take it from him. He wasn't out there trying to take it from Teo. In the championship rounds, you saw Jermaine Ortiz on some trying to look cute. I'll be right there. He wasn't trying to take it from the champion. And with Lomachenko, the same shit. He was out there trying to look good, but he didn't take it from him. So you fighting Keyshawn Davis, he wants to show, I'm going to stop the guy that Teo couldn't stop. I'm going to stop the guy that Loma couldn't stop. So I think Jermaine Ortiz can make it interesting, but right now he hasn't shown me that he can beat the top guys. He's only shown me that he could be competitive against them. So I know he's going to be competitive. I know he's not going to get washed. But he hasn't shown me that he can win those fights. Clifton Dennis, damn, you haven't been wrong on a big fight since. That's crazy. The beautiful thing about this, my brother, is that you can go back and every fight that I predict, I post it and I leave it up. So that anybody can go back and look at the resume, look at my track record, and see what I've been doing. And you see, that's why I'm Jay Stradamus, bro. I'm not out here to miss. I'm not out here to make. When I make my picks, I want you guys to know this. When I make my picks, I take that shit real serious. That's also the reason why I beat a lot of people. They be joking around. Yeah, this guy's going to win. Hey, this guy's going to knock him out. What? Bro, when I make that pick, I don't watch these guys. I don't watch video. I don't woke up at 5 in the morning and had a split screen watching both of their highlights. I see who likes to step outside of the toe and jab. I see who shells up when they get hit. I'm looking at all these little details. By the time I make that pick, I feel comfortable. I'm not making no picks to be looking like a goofball. I'm making them picks to get them right every single time, bro. Every single time. I'm not trying to miss. I'm not trying to miss. In 2026, I'm not trying to miss. Not one. Daniel Negron, are you going live that day? The T.O. Shakur fight? Of course, my brother. All the big fights, I'm calling them live. All of them. I did it last year. We're going hard in 2026. Marie, there will be an upset January 31st for sure. Boban, Castro is the guy that arguably beat Fulton. That was a good fight, man. That was a real good fight. Clifton Dennis, I believe, brother, I'm not doubting you. I'm giving you props. I appreciate it, G. Boban, who you got? Kelly versus Backram. I'm making that prediction tomorrow, bro. And I'm going to be honest, I know who's going to win. I know who's going to win that fight. Making that prediction tomorrow, so tune into that episode of Boxing for Breakfast. By the way, my peoples, let's get to 30 likes. Y'all know we not down with the ghost watching in 2026. We not down with the sneak hating. Box fans, salute family, bam. Tristan Kinney, you don't have to take it from the champion. That's a myth. Of course you have to take it from the champion. That's never been a myth. You have to take it from the champion. In close rounds, if we're in the championship rounds and it's a close round, you're not getting it. You is not getting it. No way. If we're in the championship rounds and we're both hitting each other the same, bam, 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 you not getting those rounds. You got no chance. You got to show that you won those rounds convincingly for you to beat the champion. It's always been that way, bro. The champion is always going to get the benefit of the doubt. You're going to have to take that belt from him. Looking good and staying with him is not going to do it. It's not. Jermaine Ortiz did not take it from Teofimo. Did not take it from Loma. That's why he ended up losing those fights. That's why. Marie, you have to take that logic, bro. Shakur hands. You def got to take it from the champ, of course. You got to take it from him. Being good against the champion is not good enough. Gotta beat them niggas. Shakur hands, they robbed the other guy too against Nat. West does it. Peace, chat. Good morning, brother. Salute, family. Bam. Mr. Bonilla, supposedly, when you step in that ring, the belt is up for grabs. I don't agree with taking it from the champ, but it's a thing. They do get the benefit of the doubt, of course. The champion is always going to get the benefit of the doubt because if the round is close, if it's a swing round that it could have gone either way, it's always going to go to the champion. It's always been that way, bro. Close rounds, swing rounds, that's going for the champion, bro. You're not going to get those rounds like that. Frontline, Smith, chat, familia. Mi gente, bam. My peoples, I'm about to get the hell out of here. But before I do, I want to give a shout out to everybody who tuned in this morning. Frontline, Shakur Hands, Tristan Kinney, Mr. Bonilla, West Dusset, Clifton Dennis, Box Fast 1000, Bobas, Salute Family, Marie, Daniel Negron, John Parham, JJ's in their house, Cy was in the building. My peoples, listen, Boxing for Breakfast is for you guys. It's all for you, for the love of the sweet science. We love boxing, and that's why we're here nice and early enjoying the sweet science. We got a great weekend of boxing coming up. We're going to enjoy this fight. Remember, I'm calling them live. I'm giving you that elite level commentary. Get ready, my people, because we're going to get some fireworks. Andy Cruz, Raymond, Muratalla, they're going to give us the real fireworks, my peoples. So once again, salute to everybody who tuned in. This was another episode of Boxing for Breakfast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know some people was here with the ghost watching, refused to hit the like button. It's all good, my peoples. One love to everybody anyways. Whether you love it or not, you here. I appreciate you. I'm Jay Smith. I'm signing off. I'm going to see y'all tomorrow, man. I appreciate you. Peace.